So a little bit of background about my own experience when I came in 2017. There are things that are paid for, but really very few things. Basically, all the stuff that I did in South Africa, things such as the TB test, things such as the English test especially. I think it was the most expensive thing I paid for. It was around 2,500 rands, which is roughly about 125 pounds. Please work it out in your currency wherever you are, or even USD, even better. So I paid for the police clearance, TB test, as well as the English test. Those were the three things I paid for. As far as the flight is concerned, the visa, certificate of sponsorship, I honestly had nothing to do with those things. The employer paid for them. Although my ticket was a one-way ticket, I was very grateful that they could cover that cost. But then again, it's a cost I was willing to incur if it came to that, and thankfully it did not. But as we know, things keep changing constantly, so we need to familiarize ourselves with what the latest is. And as I said, especially for the HCAs, this is a fairly new drive and employers are just embarking on it. So I am going out of my way to get in touch with the recruiters, with some of the employers where I have contacts to establish who pays for what exactly, especially as far as the COS, your certificate of sponsorship, is concerned. I'm trying to establish that. I've also found out that it's not the same for everyone. It just depends on the size of the organization that's going to be employing you. The bigger the organization, the more expensive the certificate of sponsorship is. Hoping that it's not a cost that's going to fall onto you, but again, be open-minded. If it's an investment you need to make, it's something you can think about and plan around. As well as things such as if you're using the agency, I believe some agencies are going to be charging you a recruitment fee or a placement fee. So they all work differently. Some charge the employer, some charge the candidates. So it just depends on the arrangement, but let us get into it properly. So for the certificate of sponsorship, I have for now put a question mark there until we know much better as to who pays for it, and maybe we don't even need to know how much it is, to be honest, if your employer is paying for it. It's not something that should concern you all that much. So for now, we'll just work with the question mark and just feedback later. The next thing on my list is the visa. So you can get a 3-year visa. That seems to be what's been issued quite a lot lately, especially if your employer is paying for it, as was the case for me. They will give you a 3-year visa because a 5-year visa is a little bit more expensive, but 3 years is good enough. So currently the 3-year visa is being charged at 232 per applicant. So if you're coming for 3 years, you'll need to pay 232 pounds. So I'll keep it in pounds and feel free to convert to your currency according to the exchange rate at the time of watching this. If it's more than 3 years, you can expect to pay 434, which is your 5-year. It's about it's another 3 years they'll give you, but really from that extra 3 years, you need 5 years before you get your indefinite leave to remain. So that is the cost of the visa currently per applicant. As I say, if you are considering to bring your family, each member of the family will be expected to submit their own application at a similar cost. So to correct that quickly, I have just said for the second issue of your visa, you will get 3 years, and from that 3 years, you need 5 years. Delete that in your memory. You get issued initially with 3 years. When you renew, you get another 3 years. But from the second issue, all you need is just 2 years to total 5 years, right? So you can make a total of 5 years to qualify for your indefinite leave to remain in the country. Hoping that is making sense. The beauty of the visa this time around is the fact that you do not have to pay for something called the health care surcharge, which you might not even appreciate because you don't know what it is, right? So what it is, it used to be a fee that everyone applying for a visa used to pay for. And it was such a hindrance because it was exorbitant. It was a huge barrier to entry for anyone wanting to come into the UK. and used to put a lot of people off, and there were lots of complaints around it. So it has been scrapped, and like you don't have to pay for that when you apply for your visa, but it used to add so much more cost to the visa. So not to say healthcare now is kind of free, if you will, free in inverted commas at the point of use, but not really free, because you will be paying, contributing towards things such as national insurance, which part of the money goes towards healthcare as such, or even if you want, you can add private healthcare, but the national healthcare, as in the government care, is quite good. Really, generally, you just have to have the patience for receiving care, as the queues are long. And even before COVID, it was a known thing that the NHS lists are reasonably long. But as for things such as the GP and access to healthcare is quite easy and user-friendly so far. I'd really appreciate it if you could show your support for the channel by subscribing, by sharing this video, by clicking like, as well as commenting below if you have any questions or if you seek clarity on any of the points I have mentioned so far. A tuberculosis test is another requirement you need to undergo. It will set you back about 2,500, which is roughly 125 pounds if you're in the UK, but 2,500 rands if you are in South Africa. Kindly convert to your local currency wherever you're watching from. I'd be really interested to know where you're viewing from, where you're watching this video from. Please drop me a message in the comments and let me know where you are watching, where you're tuning in from, and your support is greatly appreciated. Not forgetting to subscribe, not forgetting to share, like, as this might change somebody else's life and add value. So do not sit on the video, do share with people whom you think might benefit from this kind of content. There is, of course, the basics, your passport. That's like the 101, the very foundation where everything begins. So if you're in South Africa, you can expect to pay around 400 rands, which is about 20 pounds for your passport, and it's usually issued fairly quickly, within a week. Mine was ready in 2 days. I got a text message within 2 days of applying for it. It's just that I could only collect it after 4 days just because I was busy, but otherwise it gets ready fairly quickly if nothing has changed in that regard. According to the government website, our police clearance in South Africa is about 60 rands, which is about 30 pounds, and I paid about the same at the time of doing it. In all honesty, the EILTS is one that took me by surprise. At the time of writing it, I must have paid 2,500. This is back in 2017, as I keep saying. And now on the website, it says it's 4,900 for the UK visa version of EILTS. This is the English proficiency test. So yeah, it's gone up. I mean, so it's more than it's almost doubled, if you will. So please make sure that you choose the right version at the time of writing. For nurses, doctors, and other professionals, you need to take the academic version. But if you're coming over, for example, as a healthcare assistant, you do need to take the UK visa one. And even the academic one is still in the region of 4,000 something, which is just under around 250 pounds. I'd say give it that ballpark figure of 250 pounds as an approximate. But yes, do your homework and make sure that you do the right version. Don't waste money on the wrong version for your visa or for your application. That is all there is to say about the IELTS. In the famous words of Henry Ford, he says, whether you think you can or you can't, either way, you're right. Quite an interesting quote. By the way, you hanging out with Daphne on the Cusp with Daphne, a channel where inspiration meets evolution. And on this channel, I plan and aim to bring you matters relating to how you can come over to the UK as a healthcare worker, as a student, as a graduate in any other field for that matter, because the application process is pretty much similar. I plan to share with you life in the UK. I plan to share with you how you can advance your career in the UK, personal development, matters of health, how to fast track your financial goals, and so much more, as well as content requested by yourself. So we also call this channel On the Cusp with Daphne. So remain on the cusp, because that's where transition happens. That's where we transition from one state to the other, and hopefully we always say a better state of transformation. So stay on the cusp as we evolve together on this journey of self-discovery and growth. For all of us, stay tuned, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you for your support. And if you have not subscribed, consider doing that so I can continue to provide you with more value-adding content that can change yours or a loved one's life, even a friend's life, who knows. Stay tuned, remain on the cusp as we evolve together. Thank you for tuning in.